use them in just about anything. They'll be smaller. You can't believe how small they can make a motor now. It's 1 horsepower. It's unbelievable. So this is all going to happen. The monitoring thing, I think, will at least start to catch hold in 5 years. So that's going to take a lot right there to handle from both the provider and the manufacturer side. So these are the things I see happening that will make a difference.
Thanks, J.B. Dr. Landers, so trying to touch on that, and then relationships with physicians and kind of bridging that gap. Where do you see the provider's role in the future in 5-10 years? Is it are we going to be working more closer with the hospital base? What's your perspective if you look in that crystal ball?
I mean, I think I see kind of 2 directions that are going to happen. One is, for some of the services and products, that these are going to be treated like, very low-value commodities. And people in that business are going to have to basically manage their expenses, gain scale, and, try to continuously optimize their logistics. And, that's not, there's a lot of things not exciting about that type of business. I hear they don't trade the same multiples as value-oriented companies. I'm learning a lot about business these days. I don't know if it's relevant, but then I think there's another road that some people are going to be able to go down. And it's exciting. I don't think the book's written yet. And it has to do with population care management and models of care, in-home care, that are clearly value-oriented to the payer, that clearly, unequivocally, unquestionably substitute for facility-based services. And I think that in order to win on that road, there's going to have to be very tight relationships between folks that do everything from fight on the ground care to manufacturing and deal with equipment to physicians and hospitals. So I think that in that realm, that care management realm, that there's an opportunity with creative partnerships and becoming care managers in some instances. I think there may even be ways to attract more investment into that area because everybody can see where the costs are going and see that there may be an opportunity for people that can come to the table with that type of model. One of the other things I think about in this whole thing is that, with the equipment and with, well-differentiated products, is that, it's kind of like a piano kind of thing. I don't play the piano, so it doesn't matter for me if there's a junky old piano or the best grand piano in the world. If you don't have sort of the artist to put it all together, it becomes difficult. And I think from a provider standpoint, from the physician community, there's not enough artists in keeping people doing well in their home environment. And it would do well by the manufacturers and the suppliers and on down to help try and invest and stimulate in that physician leadership. Like I said, it's not even part of the training in a lot of instances for docs. So, I think that all those things are seeds that take a long time to grow. But I do think that there's a future there, and it's not going to go away. I mean, if you can bring care to the front door or through a mobile device through the computer monitor, if it's good care and it's value-oriented care, it's eventually going to win out over other models of care. So there's a lot of time to get it right.
Great, thank you. I've been hearing this is a constant theme that providers are going to need to improve their business flow process, how they approach their business planning, their business strategy. So it's interesting that we all keep coming back to that theme. So, Lou, I'd like to just quickly, if you could give your point of view on, because we always talk about where the puck is going, and it'd be interesting for everybody here and who's watching to understand where do you think, in the future this industry is going from your perspective.
it's very dangerous to do predictions. So I'd rather talk about an analogy. Our industry is unique in that it is regulated, it flows as a result of something very artificial. It's called reimbursement. In a free market, the market develops, there is a need. First, very high price, then the volume goes up, technology development, all that stuff, and you get supply and demand, and all of these things happen. But what you also see happening is, so it's happened 1,000 times before, is you see winners and losers. What Marx talked about there. There are those suppliers that are smart and that plan ahead for what is going to happen. There are those providers that are smart and that plan ahead for what's going to happen. That means that what has happened in other industries will also happen in our industries. There are going to be fewer suppliers. There are going to be fewer providers. So what's important for the supplier and what's important for the provider is looking at where the puck is going to go, is to make sure that you understand the players and that you partner with that are going to be successful. We are the largest creditor in the industry. So for Invacare, it's very, very important that we place our bets with those providers that we see as smart business people. So that does not necessarily mean that the person in the business that won the bid, that they're actually the winner. The loser may be the winner, depending on your point of view. Likewise, it is very, very important for the providers to look at the manufacturer, the supplier, that is going to be there with the products and the services to assist him or her in running a successful business. So the picture will be changing also for a provider. Making a decision on a supplier and a product is far more impactful on that provider's business today than it was 25 years ago. Okay, let's bring that one in, let's bring that one in. Now you really have to do an analysis of a product line, of the components, the service, the parts, all of those things combined. So the decisions made by a provider on the supply line is far more critical. Likewise, for a manufacturer, it's become far more critical because the providers that will survive are getting bigger and who we manufacture are playing their benefit. So that's the story. And like I said, the only difference between this industry and other industries is that we are driven by the reimbursement cycle rather than a free market pricing cycle. But it will happen to our industry. It will be a more cost-effective upstream and downstream delivery model. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're really right at our time limit right here. I think we could use another hour. I have like a whole slew of more questions, so we will need to end this. Is there any one question out there that we have for any individual on the panel? Okay, that's great. I think there's some great. I think a lot of the questions that we addressed were actually prepared prior to, so we got some good answers. We'd like to thank our panelists, our guests that were here today, everybody in the room, and also everybody watching live on Ustream.tv. So hopefully we'll have more events like this in the future, and thank you again.